Ombudsman McKeown, Ombudsman colleagues, distinguished guests, good morning and greetings from the European Parliament here in Brussels. And let me begin by saying how sorry I am not to be able to be with you in person. I am, however, hoping that I will see many of you here in Brussels for our European Network of Ombudsmen conference next month. You, Ombudsman McKeown, are the fourth Maltese Ombudsman that I have had the pleasure of knowing during my time both as Irish and now European Ombudsman, and I have always valued the collaboration with your office. So I want first of all to reflect on how intriguing I found the title of your conference, The Right to Good Administration, Myth, Aspiration or Reality. The right to good administration in the context of the administering of EU law is embedded in the EU treaties and in the Charter of Fundamental Rights, as indeed is the right to lodge a complaint with the European Ombudsman. The right to good administration is therefore a legal reality in the EU and not a myth or an aspiration. But I recognise, of course, that the legal right is one thing. The realisation of that right is at times quite another, and that is where the reality may descend into myth or aspiration. If the legal right remains just words on a page, then good administration does not exist for the individual or the group seeking to engage that right. I have frequently reflected on the power of an ombudsman, the person entrusted with ensuring good administration when problems arise. Our power is usually described as soft power. In general, we cannot force an administration to implement a recommendation. So what makes them do it? What is it that encourages, even forces administrations to accept our recommendations, even if they don't necessarily like them, or even at times agree with them? And what makes them refuse? My shorthand for explaining this is the following. An ombudsman works effectively in ensuring good administration for the public when everyone agrees to play the game. On my side, on the ombudsman side of the game, I agree to do my work fairly, independently, rigorously and effectively. The administration, in turn, agrees to accept an ombudsman's recommendation unless it is patently wrong or biased. Therefore, if I fulfil my part of the deal, I expect that any good administration, recognising the legitimacy of the office of the Ombudsman in the democratic architecture of the state, or in my case the EU administration, will accept their recommendations. And in my view, if that does not happen, then we have a problem. I believe that the temperature of an administration, its quality, its commitment to the rights of its citizens, can be gauged by how it interacts with its Ombudsman institution. It must, unless there are very clear reasons why it should not or cannot, accept its legitimacy by accepting its recommendations. Again, if that does not happen, the Ombudsman risks being reduced to the role of a civil society actor, just one of many, someone who can be easily dismissed if their views or findings are not to the administration's taste, even if they are absolutely correct. These are issues that we all wrestle with to a greater or lesser degree in order to prevent the reality of good administration descending into myth. I believe that good, open communication, when things become challenging, is the best way forward. Too often that communication is stifled by procedures that simply shuffle paper from one desk to another without that space really to engage and to understand. So given all of that, I think that your conference title promises a rich and fascinating discussion, and I wish you well, and I look forward to seeing you soon here in Brussels.